There's this hidden language that basically runs our entire modern world. It's a chemical code, and it's not written in ones and zeros. It's written in the fundamental language of acids and bases.
So here's a riddle for you. What do the food on your plate, the clothes you're wearing, and the car in your driveway all have in common? It really sounds impossible, right? But the answer connects just about every object in your daily life.
And the answer is acids and bases. Yep, the very same stuff we all learned about in high school chemistry. They are the invisible architects of our industrial world. And today, we're diving into their hidden power. See, we tend to think of acids and bases as just things in a lab beaker. But in the real world, they are industry's most valuable players, the true unsung heroes working behind the scenes. And what's so cool about this idea is just how simple it is. I mean, think about it. All of manufacturing, whether you're making a tiny pill or a massive airplane, it all boils down to controlling chemical reactions. And the master control dial for so many of those reactions? It's pH, that simple measure of acidity or alkalinity. You get that dial tuned in just right, you create an amazing product. But get it wrong, and you've got a very expensive disaster on your hands.
Okay, so how does this whole master control dial thing actually play out in the real world? Let's dive in and look at how industries use acids and bases to solve some absolutely massive problems.
All right, first stop, agriculture. Farmers everywhere need phosphorus for their crops, but the main source, phosphate rock, is totally insoluble. To a plant root, it's basically just a useless stone. So the question is, how do you turn a rock into plant food?
Well, you guessed it. They use a super powerful acid-base reaction. First, engineers at huge plants like IFFO will just blast the rock with strong sulfuric acid. Then, they carefully neutralize that whole messy mixture with basic ammonia gas. And the result is this stable, highly soluble salt, diammonium phosphate, or DAP. This new compound finally dissolves in water, letting it deliver those vital nutrients to crops. It's an incredible journey from useless rock to essential food.
All right, next up, let's talk about the clothes on your back. Cotton fibers, as it turns out, are super unreactive. This means dyes can easily just wash right off, which leads to faded clothes and, even worse, toxic wastewater. It's a huge problem for textile hubs like Tirapur. The solution here is absolutely ingenious. Engineers add a strong base, something like sodium carbonate, to the dye bath, and that cranks the pH way, way up. This super alkaline environment actually changes the chemistry of the cotton, and it literally forces the cotton to grab onto the dye and form a permanent, unbreakable covalent bond. They're locked together forever, and that's why your colors stay bright wash after wash.
Okay, this next problem, this one is literally a matter of life and death. A lot of our most complex, life-saving drugs are organic molecules that just will not dissolve in water. And since our bodies are mostly water, a pill that can't dissolve is completely useless. It just passes right through you.
So what they do is pretty incredible. It's all about transformation. Scientists take the insoluble drug, which is usually a weak base, and they react it with a strong acid. This creates a new salt version of the drug. Now, in chemistry, a salt isn't just for your fries. It's what you get when an acid and a base neutralize each other. And this new salt form of the drug, it dissolves almost instantly in your stomach, allowing the medicine to get into your bloodstream and actually save your life.
All right, for our next problem, let's take a trip to the tanneries of Kanpur. The challenge here is as old as time. Raw animal hide rots, and it rots fast. The goal is to turn it into durable leather, but the tanning chemicals can't get inside the hide's dense fibers. It's this really fascinating two-step dance with pH. First, they pickle the hide in a strong acid, dropping the pH all the way down to about 2.0. This makes the fibers open up and allows the tanning agent, chromium, to soak deep inside. Then, they add a base to slowly, carefully raise the pH back up. And that shift in pH is the trigger that makes the chromium lock onto the collagen, permanently creating strong, durable leather.
So we've just seen all these incredible high-tech solutions. And you know what's wild? They aren't based on some secret, complicated industrial magic. They are direct, real-world applications of the exact theories that most of us learn about in school. Let's see how that connection really works.
I mean, this is what makes it all click. Remember Arrhenius' theory?
The one about H plus and OH minus ions in water? Well, that's exactly what factories use every day to neutralize acidic wastewater with cheap lime before it goes into our rivers. Or Bronsted-Lowry, with its proton swapping? That's how cosmetic chemists perfectly balance ingredients to make sure your shampoo stays smooth and doesn't separate. And Lewis theory, the really abstract one about electron pairs? That's the secret sauce behind the catalysts you use to create the very plastics that are all around us.
But, it's not enough to just know the general theories. To run these processes on a massive scale, engineers need really precise tools. They have to master the chemical code itself. 4.6. Just a number. But what's so important about this one specific number?
Well, if you're at a massive dairy like Hummel, this isn't just a number, it's the magic number. As bacteria ferment the milk, the pH starts to drop. The second that sensors read exactly 4.6, the milk proteins instantly coagulate, forming the curds for cheese and paneer. If you're off by even a fraction, millions of liters of milk could be ruined. Precision is absolutely everything.
But what if you need the exact opposite? What if you need the pH to stay perfectly, absolutely still? In biotech, for instance, you have living cells in these giant vats making vaccines. Even a tiny pH change can kill the entire batch. The solution is something called a buffer. It's like a chemical shock absorber. It just completely tames the pH chaos, creating a stable world for these incredibly sensitive reactions to happen.
So how do they build that perfect chemical shock absorber? Well, they use this, the Henderson-Hasselbalch equation. And I know it looks intimidating, but this isn't just a formula. It's a recipe. It's the exact tool that lets an engineer calculate the precise amounts of acid and salt needed to lock a multi-million-dollar bioreactor at the perfect pH for production. So all of this, it brings us right to the present day and to what's coming next. This fundamental knowledge is now the engine powering the next industrial revolution.
I absolutely love this quote because it just perfectly nails the big idea we've been talking about today. Those simple equations that you might balance in a school notebook, they are the very first step on a direct, unbroken path to running the most complex industrial facilities on the entire planet.
And here's where it all comes together for the future. In this new world of Industry 4.0 and smart factories, simple formulas like pH equals the negative log of H+, they're not just for textbooks anymore. In these automated factories, they are quite literally the code that the computer systems use to make decisions, to open valves, and to optimize production second by second. Which leaves us with one final big question to think about. We've seen how these fundamental principles create our food, our medicine, our clothing. So it really makes you wonder, what problems are next? And which formula, sitting right there in your textbook today, holds the key?